All right, let's finish up the Silent Night, Deadly Night series with the remake. The remake, Silent Night. Doesn't even have the same title, okay? This movie has very little to do with the original, but there are some connections. And when I had watched it in the past, I've maybe seen it like 3 times now. Having re-seen it now, I remember like acknowledging these things at the time, but they kind of just left my mind over the years, and I didn't see those connections when I would go back in my memory and think about these. But there are some connections here, and we'll get into those. This movie is just tons and tons of fun. Like, when I see people saying this movie's terrible and this and that, I don't know what movie they were expecting. Maybe I think it's just a remake hate thing. I think if this was disconnected from that franchise, this would just be one fun ass slasher. But because it is attached to what a lot of people consider to be a classic, especially in the Christmas horror subgenre, I don't get it because I'm not a remake hater, but if you are, then I guess that makes sense. And some people might just straight up not like it, but this movie basically has everything that a fun slasher needs to have. It has gory ass kills. It has, ridiculous one-line dialogue, humor thrown in all throughout. Like the whole when Christmas Tiffany is going to give the dude in the Santa Claus outfit a blowjob, like their commentary back and forth with each other about like how she's going to lighten Santa's sack, and he's that is exactly what dialogue in movies like this should be. Like, this film completely embraces its silliness. Does it have dramatic scenes in it? Yeah, but they don't seem overbearing. They don't, bog the film down with like cutting to 20-minute dramatic dialogue scenes like some films do when they're trying to have like a silly tone. I reviewed a movie recently that was like this, where I just was sitting there like, why are we doing so much drama in between the goofiness of this movie? Like, this movie has just the right amount of dramatic scenes, and those mostly come from Jamie King, finding her father dead or her interactions with her father, that kind of stuff. But they're so short-lived that it doesn't hurt the film. In fact, it improves upon it, because I actually genuinely like and feel for her character when she's going through this, even though the events are ridiculous. Malcolm McDowell has a ton of really stupid but funny lines. It borders cringy, like where you're just like, oh, but somehow you still kind of laugh. You're like, that's really on the nose, ridiculous. But like his, you brought a flamethrower to a gunfight, and he has a bunch of lines like this. Double. She's like, there's 2 things, and he like puts another letter, and he's like, double fucked or double dead or something like that. Lots of funny ass lines from him, which Malcolm McDowell's, he's a tough one for me because he is so openly shit on horror movies and says he hates them, but he stars in them all the time now. So maybe he's retracted that statement. Maybe he was just in a bad mood that day. Maybe they misquoted him. I don't know, but I've read that in a couple interviews, and I'm like, you shouldn't shit on, what's putting bread on the table right now, because this is primarily what you're doing. And I think that's thanks if he's happy about it. I don't know if this is thanks or not, but I guess that's due to Rob Zombie, right? Bringing him in for Halloween as Dr. Loomis. I don't know. I'd have to look back at his career and see if he was doing much horror before Rob Zombie's Halloween in '07. I haven't, but it seems like since then, that's like all he does. Anyway. This movie it has what you want in movies like this. There are vicious kills. There's tons of great gore, funny kills, unique stuff. Like, this is what we watch this shit for. You know, there's a scene where a girl's running around topless. A hot chick with great tits is running around topless outside. It is like a 5-minute scene of a girl running around naked with a guy chasing her, and then cuts her leg off and throws her in a wood chipper, feet first, mind you. And the gore is great. I mean, her leg looks real when it's flying through the air, and when he picks it up and he throws it in, like, I don't know if that's to test the thing, to make sure it will take a body, or to show her what it's about to happen to her, to fuck with her more. I don't know. But man, that is a gruesome ass scene. And another scene that shows you that this movie isn't fucking around, and it kind of happens right out the gate. And I think that's just kind of like a warning to fans, people who might not be into these kinds of things. Like, this shit is getting serious quick. And it's this mouthy little, like, teenage, like, young teenage, like 12, 13. 12 is not a teenage year. 13, somewhere in that area. Fucking mouthy little asshole opens the door, and Santa electrocutes the chick and then fucking skewers her. I mean, you do not see kid death in films much, and they make you hate her instantly. I mean, they definitely, I don't know if they would have had the balls to just kill some cute, sweet, innocent kid. Like, they had to make you hate her first to justify them murdering a child on screen. So I just laughed out loud. Every time it happens, I'm just like, damn, man, this movie is gruesome, and I love that shit. This film, really, I mean, this is a Silent Night, Deadly Night. He's going out and punishing the naughty. He doesn't say naughty, he doesn't say punish or any of that stuff. The only thing he says in this entire film is not nice, which I'm guessing that was what they came up with. All the adjectives had been taken, so naughty and you know, these kinds of things were gone, so they had to come up with their own. I don't know why they didn't use at least one naughty or punish. I don't know. But Donald Logue is great in this movie. I'm a huge fan of Gotham, and you know, he kind of got his breakout in Blade, and he's done a lot of cool things. But his rant when he's incarcerated is awesome. Like, that is some great delivery of a broken, angry, lost man who is just spewing his reasons and his hatred for this holiday. And you kind of feel bad for him, but at the same time, you know, you're kind of like, dude, you're being a dick. So I thought he was just excellent in this movie. But yeah, as I said, there's a ton of shitty characters in this, and I think no one's more shitty than this awful priest who, another great death. I mean, the way he chops his fucking fingers off and he comes back, that looks awesome. The fingers, the gore in this movie is excellent. And if you're a slasher fan, I don't understand how you could enjoy this movie. Tits, gore, blood, mayhem, funny lines. This is a really fucking fun movie. But everyone's a critic. And then another fantastic kill. The boyfriend in the Santa costume. His head, he brings it down, splits the dude's head open, blood goes everywhere. Oh, that scene's fabulous. Now, some of the things they brought back from the original is, number one, the grandpa scene is almost identical. He comes out of his comatose state, having not talked for like a year, and says, you know, it's the scariest damn holiday of the year. They almost lifted that verbatim. That one's the most like on the nose of them. Another one we have is the guy is told to take the trash out, and he's like, you know, taking the trash out to the trash can. He's like, what is this, garbage day? Which, you know, it's from part 2, but it's part of the franchise. And then another super famous scene, although I prefer the original, because Linnea Quigley is Linnea Quigley and she's amazing, and because she's naked. And this Tiffany girl, they hinted at her getting naked a lot in this movie, but they never did it. But the antler kill from the first one is redone here with Christmas Tiffany instead. But as I said, I would have preferred her to be topless. But hey, that's just me being a perv as usual. I try not to break down any of the logic in this movie. Like, you can't really. Like, the other guy that they think is the Santa killer, and she goes to his apartment, finally he's like running by and she sees him. It's like, really? You're running from the cops and you're wearing a bright red and white Christmas Santa costume? Like, they're out looking for you. You probably, and the last time they saw you, you were in this outfit that stands out like a sore thumb, and you didn't think to change it? Like, that's the reason she noticed you walking by, but whatever. As I said, you can't break down things like that in this. There is a scene in this movie that very much speaks to my heart, and it is when Ellen Wong from Scott Pilgrim versus the World and the recent amazing The Void movie, they're talking about, the 9-letter word for a 6-sided item or whatever, snowflake. She asks her what it is, and the girl's like, I'll Google it. And she's like, no, don't Google it. Like, I want to think of it myself. That is me. That is me. That is me. I despise when I ask somebody a question and their instant reaction is to Google something. It drives me fucking insane. Like, use your brain. Unless you don't know the answer at all, and neither of us do, then that's fine. But if you know the answer, it's somewhere in your head, and you just don't want to think of it at all, I can't think of it off the top of my head. Let me just Google it. Like, come on, man. Use your brain. Ugh. Too many people. Too many people. There's some really cool neon lighting in certain shots, which I always point out, but it's, because of the Christmas lights that are doing it. And the killer has ho, ho, ho across his brass knuckles. Hilarious shit. Yeah, I think that's it. I feel like there was one more thing that was connected to the first one that I missed. I thought I wrote it down here, but I don't know. I forget. Yeah. So this was fun. Christmas is over. I'm trying to get back to the New Year's horror movies. I have like 2 days to do that, so I'm going to try to knock out a few tonight and maybe a couple tomorrow. We'll see. But yeah, let me know what you thought about this one. I know that the few people I've talked to, it's kind of just a split thing. Like, people are like, this one was stupid as shit. I know you, like, I saw a bunch of comments in my threads because I kind of took a break in between to do Black Mirror and to do some New Year's horror. They were just like, oh, I saw you skipped the other one. Like, good, it's a piece of shit. Or like, you must hate it like I do. And it's like, no. I just took a break because I had watched 5 in a row and Black Mirror was about to drop, and I wanted to get some New Year's horror and Halloween, Jesus Christ. Christmas had just ended, so I don't know. I couldn't get to it for some reason. I could have, obviously, but I just didn't. Anyway, I will wrap this up, and Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.